Hello internet users, and welcome back to another highly professional video discussing quality crafted works. I'm sure that if you're watching this, then I don't have to explain to you who Wario and Waluigi are. While these two may not have been on as many adventures as Mario and Luigi, they're still a beloved duo that's always invited whenever there's a kart racing or sports tournament. And naturally, in the age of the internet, if you've got a dedicated fan base, it's only a matter of time before people start making fan games of you. That, and highly questionable pieces of literature. But that's a whole other issue. Today we're going to be taking a look at a collection of fan games featuring Wario and Waluigi. The first game is called Wario Kart Escape. In this one, you control Wario and Waluigi's vehicle. The stages alternate between having you speeding away from an enemy or attempting to win a race against other characters. All the while, you need to avoid the obstacles in the way. On paper, it doesn't seem like these are bad ideas. However, the game doesn't do a very good job with them. The only obstacles in this game are falling bombs, moving boos, and blocks on the road. Everything but the boos can be destroyed by using your attack, fired by pressing space. The blocks are mostly manageable, but the real issue is the bombs and boos. They start moving and falling in the same rhythm all across the stage as soon as it begins, so most levels become this awkward game of trial and error where you have to memorize where to slow down because there's not always enough time to do so when they appear on screen. It can be a little frustrating to get to the end, as the gameplay is pretty rough around the edges. I know that it's meant to be a sort of rage game, but that doesn't mean it has to feel this clunky to play. Aside from the main game, there's also a few mini-games. They're very simplistic though, and I can't see anyone wanting to mess around with them for very long. This is definitely someone's first game, and there is an effort to admire here. It really feels like someone took their time and tried to experiment when making this, which is nice to see. That being said, it's still not very fun to play, and is the kind of experience that you forget about almost as soon as it's over. Kinda like my videos. Next up, we've got Waluigi's Mansion. This one begins with a little slideshow to give us the backstory. Mario and Luigi went to a mansion. Waluigi shows up and stabs Mario. Luigi then kills Waluigi, who then comes back as a ghost and kills Luigi. Once you're actually tossed into it, you're told that your goal is to find Mario and Luigi. After walking around, you find the bodies of the characters. Once you pick up a flashlight, the game turns into a really bad version of Five Nights at Freddy's. You're suddenly told that Waluigi and Mario are coming after you and that you need to survive the night. In order to conserve your power and stay safe in this office, you're supposed to check the cameras to know when to seal the doors. However, the problem with this is that there is no map to tell you where each of the cameras are placed. You're just supposed to memorize the mansion's layout beforehand. This is made even worse by the fact that every room and hallway looks exactly the same. And as if that wasn't frustrating enough, every time you die, you have to replay the beginning portion of the game. I tried, but no matter how much time passes, morning never comes. Eventually, I just gave up on it. Now that that's over with, we have Luigi vs. Wario RPG. This one is a flash game where you play as Luigi and have to defeat Wario in, well, an RPG battle. There's no story or any kind of context to it. These two are just beating the crap out of each other because they feel like it. Not much else I can really say about it. The whole game is just one basic battle and then it ends. Now we're on to Waluigi Adventure. This one kinda reminds me of those weird Mario fan games that made their way around the internet back in the early 2000s. It's a weird mishmash of assets from different games, and the entire stage is one screen. Again, not a whole lot to really talk about. The game is only 3 levels long and you can get through it in a few minutes. But if you die, apparently Waluigi gets sent to hell, so there's that. The next game we have is actually also titled Waluigi's Adventure. Wait a second, sorry. Waluigi's and Venture. Or is it called Waluigi's World? I don't even know anymore. But at a glance, it looks a bit more promising. There is original assets, and its gameplay requires you to collect all of the mushrooms before moving on to the next stage. It's not a bad idea for a little flash game. Oh, never mind. Apparently this one screen is the entire game. I guess the creator gave up on it right away. Seriously, what is with all of these games being so short? It's like the fans care about Wario and Waluigi as much as Nintendo does. Well, at the very least, since I'm one of the few people that has played this game, and it can be completed in a few seconds, I'm just gonna go ahead and grab the world record for the speed run of it. Let's see if any of you can top that. The next game is called Wario Xy Luigi, and judging from this title screen, I think we're all in for a good time. The goal of this game is simple: hold down the button to make Wario and Waluigi make out. That's the game. You need to fill up the love meter while also making sure to avoid being seen by the police, because apparently this action is considered highly illegal in the Mushroom Kingdom, and this Toad here doesn't look like he's messing around. Well, it looks like I got caught. I guess these two are going to jail now. Well, this isn't what I expected to see today. This has to be one of the most messed up game over screens that I've ever seen. That aside though, the game isn't actually that difficult to beat. However, there is only one level. Now we're on to Wario Brothers Rpg. I can tell that's its name because it's on the title screen twice. Of course, we can't have an episode of bad fan games without an RPG Maker game. Honestly though, this one just disappoints me. There's nothing really here. It's just a few maps without any real story. I know it's clearly labeled as a work in progress, but so what? The whole point of releasing an unfinished build is to present your current idea for the project and get feedback from people who play it. But this doesn't even have anything to actually comment on. It just seems like somebody wanted to make a game, but was too lazy to actually try. It's just a couple of areas with a few NPCs to talk to. I could make this in 5 minutes if I wanted. For as much as I like the RPG Maker engine, it's projects like these that really contribute to its negative reputation. There's a lot of fun and interesting fan games and indie games made with the software, some of which I've even covered on this channel before. But because of junk like this popping up all the time, there are people who won't even try a game just because it's made in RPG Maker. A big shame if you ask me. And now we come to the final game for today. Waluigi Travels through the Multiverse. This is a weird one. The game begins with you, the player, looking up at the night sky. Next thing you know, you're suddenly transported to the Mushroom Kingdom, where you meet Waluigi. He's currently busy beating up Goombas for cash, because that's just the kind of person he is, I guess. And because the main character is such a stand-up guy, he stands up to Waluigi's bullying. How, you ask? Why, through a Pokemon battle, of course. After punching him in the face a few times, Waluigi reveals that he had gained the ability to fight in Pokemon battles after visiting another dimension. And they come to the conclusion that the protagonist ended up here due to Waluigi's shenanigans. And then suddenly the fabric of reality is ripped and the pair is transported to the Pokemon universe. However, everything is all messed up thanks to Waluigi stealing the battle system. Upon putting it back, Professor Oak appears and offers us $1 million. But now, Waluigi and the protagonist are trapped in this universe. Somehow they decide that going to beat the nearest gym will send them home. But once they start heading through Route 1, a wild FNAF animatronic appears for some reason, and it needs to be defeated by Waluigi using his signature noise. There is something amusing imagining Waluigi destroying this thing and picking up a $50 bill off the ground. Once they reach the gym leader, they find that it is someone named Pokaton, who I think is another YouTuber. He also battles with FNAF animatronics, for some reason. I don't really know why. Once they get the badge, the universe starts getting ripped apart again. From there, the game continues on with the group gradually getting bigger as they start going through different universes. There's way too much more of the story for me to talk about here, and considering that it is a visual novel, I'd recommend checking it out yourself. However, there are a few things that I really want to say about this game. The first is that it's not very good. The writing is all over the place, with the story trying to be as random as possible at all times. I know that that's what the game is going for, but that doesn't mean that the idea couldn't have been executed in a more clever and interesting way. As it goes from scene to scene, it feels like everything was just made up as it was going along. There are some parts that don't even make sense, and I don't even understand how they started happening. The beginning of the game feels like it had a bit more care into it, but unfortunately, I think it slowly starts to go downhill from there. Also, there isn't an actual battle system in the game. You just have to choose the correct option in order to advance the dialogue. Another thing to be aware of is that it is incomplete and divided up into different parts. At the time of recording this, up to part 3 is available, with the 4th one looking like it's never going to happen. However, with all that being said, I actually really like this game. Waluigi Travels through the Multiverse cannot even be compared to most of the stuff I've looked at in these videos. I personally don't think that it succeeds at everything it's trying to do, but this game most definitely has a ton of care put into it. It took me a little over an hour to play through it, but what is there is actually a fun time. It's certainly far from a masterpiece, but I do think it has its charming moments. You know, a big problem I see with fan games nowadays is that a lot of them really lack this kind of dedication. It's great to see a lot of people inspired to create something, but just because something is made for fun doesn't mean that there's a limit to how much effort can be put into it. I mean, isn't the whole point of a fan-made work to show how much love you have for the original material? Not every fan game has to be the next Mario Power Star Frenzy, but is it really so much to ask to see more of these passion projects have a little more, you know, passion? My name is Pikasprey, and thanks for watching. Hi everyone, thanks for watching the video. If you want to see more of my content, then you can click on the stuff that's probably on screen right now. I'll also put a link to my playthrough of Waluigi Travels through the Multiverse, if you're feeling really bored right now. That's it for now, and see y'all next time.